Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Talk for dance teachers and studio owners. We were just having a little prep meeting. I have a feeling this is going to be a really good talk. Welcome, Laura. Say hello to everybody, my friend.
Good morning, Ree. Hi, everybody. I'm excited about today as well. I think it's going to be an amazing conversation. So I think it's going to be a really good one. Like you said, it's like one of our largest panels we've had.
Yes.
So
Bear with us if we have technical difficulties, if we lose somebody.
you got this.
So I got to do a little welcome and then I'm going to jump in with you. Welcome, everybody. This is Coffee Talk brought to you by the International Dance Entrepreneurs Association, also known as IDEA. We are an organization of studio owners who are passionate about doing it the right way, whether it's got to do with how we run our studios business wise and entrepreneurial wise, to creating a culture where every child feels welcome, regardless of their skill level, regardless of them becoming a Broadway star, that they can come into our dance studios and we can change their lives. So that's IDEA. If you'd like to learn more about IDEA, you can check it out at ideadance.org. So, Laura, what's new and exciting?
I had an exciting weekend. I was in New York City on Saturday night. My dancers got to perform at the Perry Dance Youth Festival. Which was super exciting. This is the second year of them doing it. But one of my past instructors, who unfortunately moved, she's still a subcontractor for me and comes in and does choreography. And she reached out last year. She's like, I have a connection. She's a connection everywhere. I have a connection in New York City. Do a couple of the girls want to come and I'll put a piece on them? I'm like, yes, we do. We will. Yep. Let me send it out. So this is their second year. And it was at the beautiful K&J Theater right in Manhattan. And, it's like amazing for the girls because we do a lot of, not a lot, but a decent amount of competitions. But to be able to go to New York and get on stage with like a real sound tech and real lighting engineers, it was just New York level, production. It was so nice. And I drove up there and saw them on Saturday night, and they were so nervous, but like so excited. So it was great. They did awesome.
That's great. Tell us a little about the festival. What is it? Where is it?
So it's in Manhattan. They have one in the spring and I believe one in the fall. It's through Perry Dance Youth Company. The director, Diego, he runs it. And I think I'm pretty sure you have to have like connections to get in the door, to be honest. And like I said, Natalie is very well versed in the dance world. We're very lucky to have her. But there was a few companies from Philadelphia, some from Central PA, lots of, New York companies, youth companies that were there. So it was definitely a mix. There was like a Latin company, jazz, modern. So it was just awesome. And it's just nice to see I don't know, just kids not being necessarily on competition stage, just seeing, like, that's what my kids said. It's nice to just go out there and dance, Miss Laura. And I was like, yeah. So I'm happy that they have that experience,
And you're exposing them to dance that's cultural,
Yes.
other expressions, which kids who only compete don't necessarily get exposed to.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and I think two of my girls who were there for sure want to dance, like professionally. So one's 13 and one's 17, a junior in high school. So for them to like say that they have all of these performances under their belts of like performing in New York City, like that's incredible. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm really proud that Libra has that option for them to do that. So yeah, that was my weekend, and then a baby shower, a birthday party. So I was like all over the place, but it was good. It was a really good weekend. But how was your weekend, Ree? What did you do?
I intended to do a lot of work because when I have weekends off now, I kind of break it up and say one day for myself, one day to catch up. I did a half a day of work on Saturday, never did any catch up. kind of enjoyed the weekend off. It was beautiful weather. Went to the grocery store. I did what I tell everybody who comes to my seminars to do once in a while.
Unplug. Have some time, be a human being and not a studio owner. Or,
I loved every second of it, and would do it again in a snap.
That's awesome.
I highly recommend that. Sometimes we say, you know what? It's been this long since I stopped. And even if I must get this thing done, I have to stop before I can do a good job at that thing.
Yeah.
Little morning motivation or whatever. Cheers to that, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know who's watching today. Please let us know. Put your name, where you're from there's an Ontario, Canada there. I'm looking at that. Luann Courtright, I believe she's Michigan.
And there's Ashley. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, good morning, Ashley.
I love coffee helps. Agreed.
Coffee helps. That's true. I'm going to do some more of these. So please comment and I will share them throughout the show. In the meantime, I am going to run a commercial for the conference and Soul. But first, I want to say this. Today's talk, 3 stages of studio ownership. Brand new first couple of years, middle point 18 years, starting to step back 30 something into 40 years. And the differences in the mindsets because of either experiences learned, a changing world. It's going to be a really interesting talk. So we'll be back with that in a minute. See you on the other side. Here we are. Thank you guys for being with me. I'm not sure where Hedy is, but I'm sure he's going to pop back in.
He's going to make a grand entrance. I knew it. It's like, I'm waiting for Bella.
My eyes are watering, tears of happiness that I'm here. I got allergies.
Okay, great start. I told you this was going to be interesting. Great start. I want to welcome all of you here. Hedy, I'll give you a second to get yourself together. Lauren, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, my friend.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Hammond. I own Desert Dance Collective. We're in Tucson, Arizona, and we opened in September of 2020. So we're in our 3rd season right now.
Very cool. Welcome. Happy to have you with us. Erin.
Hello. So happy to be here. My name is Erin Rae McNamara, and I own Erin Rae School of Dance in Westport, Massachusetts. And we are going to be finishing up our 18th season.
Thanks for being here, Erin.
you.
Miss Hedy.
Hello, idea. So nice to be here. I'm Hedy Perna, the director, and there's the second director of the Perna Dance Center in Hazlet, New Jersey, and 35 years.
Incredible.
Very cool. So I'm going to start off with a couple thoughts that I'm hoping will get us going. Lauren, I want to ask you, what are your, not fears, but concerns for the future as you head into, I know you're about to announce to the world that you're having a baby, and I believe we're having a boy, so that's exciting. But what are, like, at this stage in your career, what's most important to you to be thinking about right now?
Yes, I actually had a nightmare the other night. I had the baby was born and it was chilling in the guest room at my parents' house and everyone was oohing and eyeing. And I was like, oh, thanks. And I said, see you later. And I went to work
Oh my God.
that day. And I was like, maybe this is a sign that I should start figuring out what our plan is. I have a couple months. The baby is due in late August. And so we have the whole summer season. Our season will end in May, recitals early June. So I feel like I've got the summer covered. We've got camp counselors good to go. So I'm looking forward to having the summer to plan things out. But as someone who's been taking on the brunt of the workforce for almost 3 years, this is a new territory for me. And I know that it's not going to be possible for me to step in the studio at a moment's notice for at least a month, I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm new at this. But so that is my biggest fear for this upcoming season, is that I'm going to miss something or, not quite think fully out everything that's going to happen.
Okay, Erin, Hedy, give some advice on that thought.
Well, I'm going to say that, Lauren, I was, out of all the things I've ever done in my life, and I could say that I think I did a lot, and I'm still doing a lot, being a parent, and I'm going to tell you the truth because nobody told me the truth. It's friggin' scary. I never babysat a child until because I was not that person to have children, and having that baby really freaked me out for a while. But I do remember the doctor saying to me, because I was like, my schedule, and the doctor said, she'll be fine. She'll be fine. She'll adapt to your lifestyle. So that you can do no wrong, even though it doesn't come with instructions. And the studio is a great place to have a child. It really is. You just have the time management. If there's one regret, I should have taken off Saturdays and stayed home Saturday, Sunday with her. I never took off Saturdays. I worked Monday through Friday and then even Saturday all day. So that's my only regret. You'll be fine. Don't sweat the little stuff.
I feel like, Erin, might you have something to add to this?
Yes. So my son just turned 13 in February. And, when I first opened my studio and then having the baby, and I always thought dance had to be first, right? My words of encouragement and wisdom to you is enjoy those moments with your child. The studio will always be there. You can't get those years back with your child. So enjoy, get all of your days set, get your staff ready to pull through for you, and enjoy those days with your child.
Yeah, I totally agree with Erin. I remember I had my son September 2020. And so like literally at the start of our season. And when I found out in January, I remember thinking like, I didn't plan this well. What was I thinking? This is the start of the season. Like, and I was like, well, I guess sometimes life happens. But I remember being very adamant in wanting to spend as much time with him as I could. And I remember when I really pulled back from teaching that year, I actually only taught on Saturdays that year, Hedy. I hired people Monday through Friday.
You did the exact opposite. Yeah.
I completely ixnayed during the week and I just taught on Saturdays so I could be at home with the baby. And I remember I thought that people would feel a way about it, my studio families. And I remember I was in the office, I was covering the office one night and the baby was at home. And one of the moms said to me, and I will never forget it, Beth said to me, "This is your time now. You've taken care of our babies. Now it's time for you to take care of your baby." She said, "So don't ever feel bad about that." And I remember I was in like such a vulnerable place with Cole and that like feeling bad of I'm not teaching as much and maybe I could do a little bit more in that class or like you just have that like guilt, that studio owner guilt. And I just thought to myself, no, I'm where I'm supposed to be right now. I'm with Bubba. I'm with my Cole, and I don't regret that. And now I picked up way more teaching. I'm back in the studio 3 days a week and I love it because I wanted to get back to it. But like Erin said, that first year, I love that I was with him all the time. I really do. And I love that I had my Saturdays and I fit in rehearsals and baby classes and all that too. So it was great.
I love that somebody's talking about this because I, like Erin, now I wouldn't have the circumstance of having a child, but I, like Erin, was brought up where this thing came first. Okay, like you had to run your business. And if that meant the baby was on the hip, because I saw many teachers who taught with babies in backpacks and babies in a playpen in the studio. Now in 2023, you strategize right now at the first point on how you want it to be.
Yeah.
You have the chance to do that, Lauren.
Yeah.
Lauren, the last thing I want to say to you is whatever your due date is, don't work up until the day. My due date was March 12th. We're so planners that we think we're going to go right on that day. So March 10th, my 3-year-old class was lined up to come to the classroom and my water broke in front of them and I was gushing and they're traumatized. They're old now, but they're still traumatized. Occasionally I'll see them and they'll think, I was the class that you peed in front of. Because when they tell you the water's going to break, you take these classes. Is this your first? Yes, your first, right?
Yeah.
They say the water might break.
Pull
Like,
us down now. They're going to pull us down for this discussion.
You're like a
Good
horse
morning.
peeing. You can't control yourself. It's just beyond. Those people are really.
Okay, I have another question. If any of you guys have questions who are watching or maybe some special message for Hedy, let me know. I want to ask you, Erin, this question. What is different about your mindset now, 18 years in, from where, let's say, Lauren's might be now? Like, what have you said to yourself, I wish I didn't worry about that, or getting to this middle stage? Go ahead.
So I'm a totally different human than I was 18 years ago. That's for sure. I'm going to start off there. But I think, when I first opened, my mindset was like competition and, oh my gosh, and the team, and we got to do this and we got to be the best. And now I think back when I was young with no confidence. Now I think back, I'm like, I just had no experience. Okay. Now finishing at my 18th year, my goal and my purpose of being in this field is creating lovely humans, building confidence, getting them ready for the real world. Yes, going to dance competitions we love. I love networking. I actually have met some wonderful people because of dance competitions, and I'll be forever grateful for that. But my mindset for my business now is just creating lovely humans, building confidence, making them feel good when they leave here. And that's where I'm at. I just think, the world that we live in, these children in this generation, they don't have that outside of our dance schools. They don't teach that in schools anymore on how to be good people. So for myself and my staff, we are always constantly talking about that. That's going to get you places in life, not winning a trophy. Being a good-hearted person is going to get you a long way in life. And I just talked about this past Saturday with my intensive team. We talked about that. And I actually do talk about that like once a month, just reminding them on why we're here. Why do we dance? Why do we enjoy being a part of this community? Why? And that just kind of gets them back on track and, to just keep moving forward in the right direction.
But 18 years ago, you were a stressor, would you say, at that?
I stress about everything. Don't get me wrong, I still do, because we're humans, okay? We all stress and we worry. That's just human nature. That will never leave us, right? Because we love what we do. But yeah, I'm just enjoying like what's in front of me, because we don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. I don't let people, well, some people still bother me with comments, of course, because again, human nature, okay? But I don't let it like just go on for days and months and like, no. What's in front of us? Like, why are we here? What's our purpose? So I feel good today.
That was well said, my friend. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's exactly what I was hoping we would do, because at different stages and different experience behind us, we look at it's an evolution from start to end. Laura, I feel like I'm hogging everything, but I'm going to go for Hedy, and then I'm going to let you go. Miss Hedy, 35 years. You're coming to us live from Florida. You're able to run a studio without actually having to be there 24/7. Tell us about that life and how you made that decision to be in that place.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm going to say the pandemic had a lot to do with it. I feel that as a whole, I have changed as a person, as even my clientele have changed. My students have changed. The prioritization of things. I also, and if you see me crying about this, it is tears of joy. I'm 65 and I got Medicare. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I got, as a matter of fact, that's the only reason I won't be with you at IDEA, because I'm going on a family cruise, my birthday cruise. I'm 65. Now, at this time of my life and with the pandemic, I would like to step back and do the things that I like to do at the studio. There are certain tasks that I love doing and I don't want to give up. So I'm able to come to my little campus here, my college campus for senior citizens, and just enjoy some time off. I'm only here for 14 days. I'm not like a snowbird 6 months back. I fly back and forth. But I find, because I'm a Zoom expert now because of pandemic, the classrooms have Zooms in all 4 classrooms. I have everything always was on my phone anyway. So I'm only in the classroom 6 hours a week, teaching 6 classes, 6 hours of classes. So I can easily, and I prep that, throughout the year, that who's going to be covering for me. So it is a great spot that I'm in. I mean, after all these years of, and I feel like if I didn't have all the policies and all the things set in place, I wouldn't, like tonight they're going to have auditions for the opening and closing. Yesterday, they had the Easter Bunny Parade. 30 little kids under the age of 5 being bunnies hopping down, plus all the older ones, which, and I wasn't there. And they called me at 10:30 to say, it's 40 degrees. So we put all the baby bunnies in all the cars. What? And they sent me a picture of all these kids, and how thrilled am I that everything went well. They were safe. And I was still out in the community. It's great. It's great.
Well, that shows, Hedy, like how it goes back to what you're saying. You put those processes and procedures in place so that you don't have to micromanage everything. And I feel like that middle where like Erin and I are, that's like where my mind is. I'm like, I'm at the point now where I'm like, what do I love to teach? What do I love to do in the business? What do I have to do that, but I don't really love doing that, And I feel like you're at that spot now that you're just like, I'm doing this, I'm not doing that. Like it's
But Laura, I was not always in that spot. You can ask Ree because he knows I was a micromanager. Like he said, evolving. This came through time and circumstances. Yeah. I was not that all along. Now, the one thing I was all along was very confident. I remember going to Project Motivate with Ree, and they would talk about Dolly Dinkle's studio. And I was like, I'm Dolly Dinkle. And I'm not that. I am Dolly Dinkle. I'm not this competition, because back then it was, the excellence of, the art and the format of, you're an artist. And then the trend was, we're the fun studio. So everybody was fun around the country. Come for fun. And I just kept staying in my lane. My lane was exactly what Erin is. I love dance. I always wanted to teach kids to dance. I like the kids hanging on my leg. I am that teacher. They're not going to be they're going to be good human beings. They're going to enjoy the arts. So it's really, when you're younger studio, it's hard not to see this happening and this happening. You just got to find your niche, stay in your lane, stay true. But that's an evolution. But I was always confident. Nobody ever said to me, what do you do? What's your full time, what's your real job? Never in 35 years. Because I've always come across like confident, even though, you cry on your pillow, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, we took a little pause there for everybody to
because we have to think about that.
Yeah. Well, I think there's something to be said about understanding what you want your studio to be and being confident in that, because I feel like, at least in my area is saturated in studios. There's a studio 2 miles that way, 5 miles that way, 3 that way. So if you are so worried about everyone else's grass, those are going to get greener. You need to be focused on your business. And has been many times in the past 12 years with studios, are doing whatever, and I get studio hoppers. Well, this one does this and this one does that, and this one, that's great. I hope that goes well for them. This is how we do it, and I think you're right. That confidence is going to keep you successful, Hedy, for 35 years. Like that's going to keep you in your lane and thrive.
But we never had an idea. Like, we started this community where we're sharing experiences, and we never had that earlier. This community of take it, use it, don't use it. This information of sharing studio ideas, and this is how a policy works for me, and blah, blah, blah. We never had that. This is a beautiful thing that's with this community. I always said to Ree, you made the floodgates open on this. Yeah. And its idea is the perfect place to be sharing experiences, communities just like this.
Yeah, because I had a studio for 6 years before we had Idea. And I mean, I would go to Ree's, I would go to Massachusetts and go to like the Dance Life, like the studio, the retreat center. Yeah. And I got so much from that. But like you're saying, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of studios see other studio owners as their competition. And I always had the mindset, and this might be right, this might be wrong, that we all are flavors of ice cream. I am not everyone's flavor of ice cream. Okay. And I worked for an entertainment company for 12 years leading up to this before I opened up my studio. And I remember him saying he did hundreds, if not thousands, of bar and bat mitzvahs every single year. And when he would miss a kid and not get the contract, I would always say, he would get off the phone like, and then I would say to him, like, are you all right? Because it was a big contract he would lose, $20,000, $30,000 gig. And he said, babies are being born every day, Laura. If I don't get that one, I'll get another one. It's okay. And I remember like saying that to myself, like, I'm not meant to teach every single child. I'm not. I have my lane. I have what I do, what I love, how I offer it. And there's babies being born every day. So I feel like, but in my area, it gets a little like competitive with, you know, I have this many students, it's this many trophies, this many, and it's an interesting dynamic. And I feel like once I found IDEA, and like you're saying, Hedy, when you have a community of like-minded studio owners who are just looking to give their students and their clientele the best experience that they can, like amazing ideas come out of it, you know, and you get, I felt so supported through the pandemic in particular, so supported. And I thought to myself, God, there's so many studio owners out there who don't have a community to lie on, you know, and like, and to lean into. And I'm like, that I was very thankful to have IDEA. And I'm in the Gold Alliance with Erin as well. So we had that too. So that was like incredible. But yeah, I mean, IDEA, like you're saying, Hedy, I couldn't imagine going, you know, 25 years of owning a studio, not having that community. We are very lucky to have something like that for sure.
I couldn't have done a better commercial for IDEA than you all just did. Thank you very much. You'll be seeing that edited and put into new formats over the next year or so. I want to say something though, and anybody can respond. It's not in the form of a question necessarily, but reiterating what was just said. Be who you are. Do not be what any other studio is, or look to another model and say, I should try that because they're doing that. Every studio director has a personality, a reason they want to do what they do. Look inside of you and figure out the impact and the way you want to do it, and just go for it. Completely forget about what everyone else is doing. That is like the words from the beginning of Project Motivate. Hedy's heard them 83,000 times. But I think the most successful schools are the ones where you talk to the studio owner and they go, and we do this, and I've never heard of it before. And we do this, and I've never heard of it before. Usually they're the studio owners that are doing the best out there. Mm-hmm. What is it that fits you? Okay. Wow, I totally lost track of myself in that comment. So, Lauren, listening to Erin and Hedy, what do you think? What are you learning in this?
Yeah, we're in an interesting phase right now because we have 2 locations. We just opened our second one last June, and it was more of we took over an old studio who was retiring. So I kind of gathered those clients, which had a different culture in general. Very much more ballet centric, a little bit more calm than the studio I built, or other one is. So when they're meshing together, it's been really interesting. I'm trying to figure out the best way to stay true to our studio values, and then also kind of take what they have and continue it. And then I catch myself getting a little off center sometimes. Like this year was the first year we had a competition team, and I loved them to death, and I gave them this opportunity because they wanted to go a little bit further in the dance world. And I was like, who am I to deny you that? It's a very small team. There's 10 girls on it. However, I've said from day one that I was hoping to be a mid-tier studio. We're not all just recreation and fun, but we're not the elite studio of Tucson. So now I'm trying to keep that balance with 400 some students overall. And then we have a performance team, and we have this comp team, and there's kind of like a struggle there a little bit where, ooh, am I better than this team? If what studio's better, that kind of thing going on. So I have to sit down with I actually had a meeting with her the other day, my performance team coach manager kind of girl, and she's like, I think that all the performance team girls should have to take acro. We should have 3-hour rehearsals on Saturdays. And I was like, I love the enthusiasm, but what happened to we're just doing this for fun. We're doing performances and we're doing all the local events. And I don't know where to go from there. We're a little bit in the middle where I'm like, who are we as a studio? Are we still fun and games? Are we trying to level up? And I'm not sure. So that's something I need to evaluate a little bit more this summer.
No, I'm going to get you some advice right now. This is called live advice. But wait, can I ask you a question for myself? How many kids involved in this program?
There's 20 on the performance team and 10 on the competition team. So very, very small.
Can you tell us what the grand total enrollment of your school is?
466.
Hedy, Erin, what advice would you give her on what she just said? Or Laura? This is good.
I'll say, make sure you take care of your rec
percentage. Go ahead.
Take care of your rec kids. I built my company program to 55 between the ages of 7 to 18. We have 3 levels where they're very well trained and it's great. But I think what people don't realize is those babies, that's your future. I learned that from my home studio owner. He's like, you always take care of those babies. You want to have those baby classes packed. You want to have them full. You want to make sure you're offering them enough. You have a good curriculum, great communication with them. I feel like I went through a moment where I was very focused on the company kids and I started to lose sight a little bit of the youngers. And I just really shifted. I put a company director in charge of the company program, and she's fantastic. And I mean, I have 125 kids 5 and under. That's what I want. So my 5 and under program is more than twice the size of my company program. That's my goal. I want to continue to grow that. So I would just say, find your balance of what it is that you take, like a moment and be like, okay, what do I see? What do I want? What do I want my legacy to be? And then write it out and then put some systems and processes in place to get there. But I would always say, no matter how big your company gets, your competition program, your performance, always keep your eye on the recreational babies, because that's your bread and butter, 100% of any studio.
Okay, Hedy.
Well, I don't know if I'm qualified to answer this. We stopped competing in my 10th year. I'm a completely recreational studio. People come to me because I'm completely recreational. Everybody else around me is competitors. I love competition. I go to competitions. I work for competitions. It's just not my cup of tea. And I quit when it was first, second, and third place. And if you got an honorable mention, you jump to the stage. So that's how long ago it's been. But my kids dance somewhere every month or about that, every 6 weeks, whether it's the community or Christmas time. We were the opening act for the Radio City Rockettes, a new program that they started. So I feel that I'm giving them opportunities of a lifetime. Instead of spending money on the competition fees, they're spending money to go to New York City. They're spending money. Next weekend is the opening routine of the Cherry Blossom Festival. They're in the opening and closing. All these things are, and not only that, they stay from year to year to year because they know by the time they're 16, they could go to the Cherry Blossom. They'll hang in there from 12, 13, 14, 15. So I always have that feeder system going in for these opportunities. You could do a bunny parade at the age of 5, but then the other things are at different ages. So instead of a competition experience, we have life experience, performance experience. They're learning how to problem solve on a dime. Usually it's live in front of an audience or in front of a camera. That's just my take on it, Lauren. It's just a small percentage that you are concentrating on.
That was the point I was waiting for one of you to make. So you said 10 and 22. I think my numbers might be off. It's less than 10% of your clientele. So here's a point I want to make. Doesn't mean I don't do this. But what it does mean is I'm going to worry less about this because this other piece is so huge and so important. And I can't let this take my time. to solve and figure out, because I'm about to have a baby and I'm going to get my school in order. And if these 33 people aren't happy, I'm changing the numbers all the time. If these 33 people aren't happy, I'm okay with that. I'll do my best. But if I can't solve it, does it in the long run? Okay, that's all. I think I made my point. I feel like we're in this seminar right now, like at the retreat center, sitting on a couch.
I have a question for everybody.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to start with Erin first. Erin, what is something that you wish your younger self would have known before opening up like your business? What's something like, if you can go back and say, young Erin, keep this in mind, what would it be?
Ooh,
Speak up a little, Erin. There's some background noise going on in there.
is that mine? I don't think that's me. Is that?
I'm not sure if it's
Okay.
Lauren's.
Okay.
It might be.
Ooh, younger self, huh? Ooh, this could, I know this is only like an hour coffee talk, so I have to be short and sweet. So, younger Erin, I allowed people to tell me how to run my business more so than meaning parents. Again, competition parents. Okay. I'm
gonna pull a Hedy here and just disappear from the screen. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I got this, Erin. Keep going.
Okay. So younger self. I didn't, when I first opened up the studio, I didn't understand like what my brand was. So I allowed other people to put their opinions in and what we should be doing and competitions and da. You can see like where I was at, right? When I was young with no confidence. And I just wish I had when I first opened up the studio, right? I think that's like where I'm at is my younger self. I wish I had like that mentor right from the get-go to remind me of, you know, what's your brand? What's your purpose? Why are you here? Not so much of like groups of, you know, adults telling a young studio owner what to do. Because I was just like, oh, wow, they're happy because we're winning, right? So that's the only reason why they're here, because we're winning. But in the end, we weren't, because it was just like, ugh, yucky, just negative. So I wish my younger self, I wish I had like that person by my side just to remind me of why did you open up the studio? So my mind was just kind of like all over the place. So that's, you know, I couldn't even answer this question 18 years ago. Everything was about the trophies and everything was about, I didn't even know what my brand was or what my mission statement was. So that's, yeah. I just had no confidence. So I don't know if I answered it for you, but I think I.
What I love is that you have the confidence to say I had no confidence. I mean, look how confident you are now.
Say, like, look at where you are now. And I feel like it's so interesting. If you don't mind me sharing this, I know that we're in Gold Alliance together. Your retention is so amazing and so like inspiring to me. Your retention from year to year is over 90%. Over 90%. That is so skyrocket above the norm of our industry, which is like, I think like 70% or something like that. And you keep like, so I feel like you need to like totally pat yourself on the back, because you're now making these confident decisions, knowing who you are as a business owner, and think about 90+% of your clientele are on board. So not only do you know who you are and what you want to do, you have tons of families who are on board with you, Erin. And I'm like, it's so telling. And isn't it interesting that you would think when you were younger and I would think if I was a pushover, I would think that, and you're people pleasing as much as you can, your retention should be high. you're making everyone happy. Your
And my retention was low.
right, and it's like you don't think about that.
Yeah.
Actually,
So
when
wait,
you're in place.
when you worried, it was low.
Mhm.
When you stopped worrying,
Mhm.
it went high.
And I also suggest in this too, I know we're jumping, but we're talking about retention too. I think what helps with the retention here is I teach both programs. So I teach like my preschool program, I teach the rec program, I teach the competitive program. So Erin Rae's gets E-Ray everywhere, right? So she we get like little spurts, but also my staff too. My staff's fully involved with the competitive and then the rec program. And I'm changing the word rec this year in my program because that's a whole other coffee talk where I actually like rebranding like our programs too. But I think it's important that our staff is fully involved as a whole. So all of your students have a feel of your culture of your staff. So it's not like, oh, we're on the competition team, we only get these teachers. Oh, we're in the rec, we only get these teachers. No, like if you can't teach a preschool class or teach a kinder class, then you shouldn't be teaching older kids either. I feel like we need to get ourselves out there teaching all ages,
Mhm.
all styles, all levels. Like give me a good beginner class.
Erin?
Beginner jazz, I'm in.
Yep, I 100% agree with you on that. If you can't make a beginner jazz class look fabulous, then you shouldn't be teaching my senior jazz. Simple as that.
Correct.
I wholeheartedly, if you can't teach a kickball change, then I don't want you choreographing triple pirouettes in my senior jazz. I don't. I feel like if you're able to only work with the elite, then you're not a teacher, you're just a choreographer.
No, and I'm gonna.
I will be kind of changing that. I'm rebranding that too with my teachers, my competition teachers. They're going to be teaching a couple of rec classes. Oh, that word, I need to change that. But yeah, like it's our studio's important. The whole school's important.
Yes.
Mm.
Yep.
You're not gonna share with us the word you're gonna call it, or you are, or you don't know yet.
I'm not sure yet. I keep going back and forth. So I don't really have one yet. I know like our staff, we're trying to come up with the right, because everyone's important that walks in here and at E-Rays, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to, maybe I can get into her brain.
I'm completely recreational. I know that word is not possible. Everybody says that's not a good, not everybody, but it's not a good word. Recreational to me means they want to join like a club, because my studio is like a family. They come for pleasure, they come for socialization, they come for education, they come for the right reasons. But that's just me. I'm old school, remember. Old school technique, new school. No, wait. Old school values, new school technique. That's my new thing.
Yeah, somebody wrote this. I like mainstream.
That's an interesting comment. How do you deal with those teachers who don't want to work with the younger kids? All my staff this year are like, I don't want to teach this, I don't want to teach the littles, etc.
I want to say something real fast, and I'm turning that over to you guys. Know this. If I say I don't want to teach those kids, that means that I'm missing a part of who I am. Because if I am working with a new dancer, 8 years old, and I get them to do shuffle, ball change, and they make 4 sounds, I am a success as a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
It all is your perception of success. If it has to be award-winning dancers, you're missing the piece of it that changes kids' lives. Okay, that's it. Comment.
I mean, Erin, what would you say if your teachers are giving you pushbacks about teaching an age range that maybe they don't want to teach?
Well, Okay, so a year ago, I had a few teachers, saying, "Oh, I only teach the competitive kids," and I would ask why. Oh, because they're advanced. I was like, "Look, that's interesting." But now, I think with me, I think us as leaders, we need to remind them or ask them, why do they teach? Why are you here? Like, all kids matter. Everyone matters. It doesn't matter how high your Batmar is or how beautiful your leaps are. It's about how these kids feel when they're in the room. Ooh, it makes me like so crazy on how we just get so stuck upon the best dancers. Mm-hmm. Yes, don't get me wrong. My advanced kids, they're wonderful. They're beautiful. But dance is way more than that. Mm-hmm. So I think now my competitive teachers, they want to teach those other classes because I talk about it all the time. Like, you feel important. The kids make you feel like you can fly, like teaching a 5-year-old on how to chasse, or it's just way more. Yep. If you're a true educator, it doesn't matter who you're teaching in the room. Yeah. If you teach a 2-year-old to an 18-year-old.
And I think too, I know for me, I was always teaching all different ages. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had people asking, "Can you offer a mommy and me class? Can you offer a mommy and me class?" And for years I put it off because I'm like, oh, and I remember thinking, like, with my teacher hat on, like, I've never taught that age. What would I do with them? The parents are in the room, like, oh, I don't know what to do with them, And then I literally, when I tell you, I had like at least 20 people asking for a mommy and me class minimum every single year. And I'm like, okay, now with my business hat on, I'm like, I either need to hire someone who can do it, or you're going to write a curriculum and you're going to do it yourself, because we need to figure this out, because those are all people who are maybe going to go to another studio and they're going to keep them for the next 15 years. And they're asking me to teach them. And I remember I put together a program. It took me completely out of my comfort zone, but that is like my favorite class to teach now. The little ones, like, they come running in, they're 16 months to 2.5, and they just feed into my creative movement program, just feed into my next level throughout the year. And it's continuing registration. As soon as they turn 2.5, they can go right into creative, be in the show, get you a costume, go. But I remember feeling like, if I never took a chance and I never stepped out of my comfort zone to teach that level, we wouldn't have had that at Libra, because none of my other teachers who taught babies were like, "Laura, they don't really say to me, you don't even know how to teach them." And I'm like, you're right. So I'm going to learn, and I'm going to teach all of you how to teach them, and I'm going to get a curriculum and a syllabus. And we do have one now that I put together, and it's fantastic. And the little ones are great. And I'm not intimidated to have the parents in the room and show them what to do.
Well, that's so smart, Laura, because then your retention, right? So yes. The parents are seeing you, they're hearing your voice, they feel your presence. So now that it's just going to go year to year.
Yes, exactly.
So smart.
Yeah. And I try to use that example, like, to teachers who say, well, I don't teach 6 to 8. And I said, well, I used to not teach 16 months to 2.5 years, but now I do, And I feel like too, maybe you can give them options to answer that question. Maybe you let them co-teach for a year with a fabulous teacher that teaches ages 6 to 8. Get them in that studio, let them watch, let them co-teach for a year, see how the language they have to use to teach that age group. That might help too. And then they would feel a little more confident. I wouldn't say necessarily throw them in the studio and say you have to do this, because it might not go well. But if you give them the tools to help them feel a little bit more comfortable, that would help too.
I'm in the background laughing because, once again, we've come to the end of our coffee talk, which was a lot longer than it probably was scheduled to be. But this was good discussion. I want to do this again. Hedy, I feel like you didn't some final words there at the end based on what maybe we just talked about, or what people may be worried about that you're not worrying about anymore.
Okay, if I only have a minute, I'm going to use it. So I'm going to just give my wrap up, if you don't mind. What you said, Erin, about retention is so true. When you're confident, people respect a good business person.
Mm-hmm.
They might not like your decisions, but they're going to respect it. And they will retain. They want to be with winners and strong people. So they don't want to be with whiners. So I agree with you that retention is directly related to what type of business person you are, which brings me to the next point, because we're all dance educators. That's what we wanted to do. We want to teach kids to dance. The hardest part for me in 35 years, if I had to look back, I would have taken a lot more business classes. I would have delved into that side. What is a lease? Why am I have to have an attorney? How do I do this accounting? All this stuff. I would have put away my index cards and my abacus a lot earlier and embrace technology earlier. Now all these new teachers are so blessed. They have, all these different programs. We had nothing, but that doesn't mean anything. I just would embrace business a lot more. I feel like we're all great dance educators. The dance stuff, call it recreational. How do I bring the tots in? What do I learn a new program? That's the fun stuff because we love that. That's the fun stuff. It takes time. The business thing, nobody trained us for. Yep. Nobody trained us for. So that's my advice. If I was a younger teacher, I would definitely embrace the business aspect. And I've always been down on something until I'm up on it. We don't need a computer. We don't have to do it this way. Oh, that could happen this fast. I'm all in. If I was up on it a little faster, my business would have been growing even the meantime. And that's me. That's all I'm saying.
That's great.
Well, that was a good way to put it, actually, because I remember the transitioning to a computer, and my mother had opened in the 60s with the card, and you wrote the kids' attendance in their class, and it had 9 months on it. They got printed every September, and you hoped you used the whole box of them up. And to get her to make that change, I'm not going to say it hurt her business, but it was tough to get her to understand that was a step forward and not just something to get it that's going to get in her way. But this is the thing. That was then, and you could have spent 6 years deciding if you wanted a computer or not. In 2023, you must move forward at a rapid pace because the technology changes in 6 months. The ways that you could take it further changes in a year. If you don't stay on top of what is happening, whether you like it or not, in 2023, you fall behind a lot more quicker than you would have in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I think, can we do this again sometime?
Yes, I'm in.
Okay.
I'm loaded with notes.
We could do, I think, a coffee talk every week, Hedy.
Wait, Reed, just, you would have to step aside because I'm going to tell them what happens when you go through menopause and own a studio.
First one was stage 1, okay? that was just the entry.
You're like this in the middle of the winter. You're going to the kids. It's hot here. They're like, Miss Hedy, we're freezing. I'm like,
you're teaching them life skills at those moments. What's coming their way in the future? It's all about educating. Ay, this was a blast. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Bye, Idea.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. So fun.
Take care.